On today's show, we're sharing our dream projects in another installment of You Wish, Bitch.
We're manifesting our crazy big ideas and some more realistic dream projects.
But we both have globe-trotting design fantasies.
Because if we don't put it out there, how will someone know we want it?
Let's go! Hi, I'm Rebecca of Studio Plum.
And I'm Shaun of Renstead Interiors. We're interior designers
Turned internet friends.
turned real life friends.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
We're not that hot.
Or that young.
Every week, we'll be spilling the tea on how a new generation of interior designers can run their businesses.
Welcome to the club. Hi, Shaun.
What's up, Rebecca?
Oh, I'm just having some rosé in a
clink.
coupe with my
Design husband?
design husband.
I know we're both spouse-free, recording live from Las Vegas.
We have a bottle of rosé in a cut crystal
Glass.
glass. Feels very fancy.
This is a nice little suite they upgraded you to here at the Nomad.
Yeah.
Non-spawn. They just did that.
Yeah, I got surprised with a 2-bedroom suite.
Or 2-room suite.
Oh, no. Yeah, 2 rooms.
Has like the bedroom, the living area, little bathroom, and it's really charming.
Yeah, it's
I won't
really
say
good.
anywhere else.
I know. It's really nice. So, yeah, so we just finished our first day of walking around and at market, and
More of that to come.
more of that to come.
I think we're going to try to separate. We're tired. It's the first day, too. There's so much to take in. It's overwhelming. I'm glad we're doing multiple days so we can leave space to absorb.
Yeah, and it was pretty quiet today, so it was good.
I think come summer, it might look really different. As more people are vaccinated, develop the courage, the desire, the willingness to come to markets that maybe by July's Vegas market, more people will be coming back. Who knows? We really don't know.
All right, well, let's do Fizzy Sizzy.
Yes. Okay. I know they're all starting to blur together. Every week we're both like, what was good? But this is why we're doing this, is to force ourselves, not force, but encourage ourselves to embrace those things that are exciting for us, that we should be celebrating, that we should be happy about. Because sometimes I don't feel like celebrating things or stuff that's a celebration for me as an individual entrepreneur or whatever. It's like, who celebrates it with me?
Yeah, and of course, as humans, we focus on the bad stuff, so
Right.
it can feel like doom and gloom.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're also listening as a hottie and you're like, oh, I don't know that we struggle with patting ourselves on the back and taking those moments to enjoy something. And this is why we write them down, share them on the show. For me, this week, one of the things that I'll just start with my fizzle was there's a tile maker. Well, he's like a ceramics artist, but he does a lot of tiles. And his name is Paul Baumer. And he's in the UK. And he makes these like very cheeky, almost like Delft-looking tiles. You know, but they're like new custom tiles. They're very cheeky. There's usually like a gay influence or like weird like LGBT references in some of them. And some of them are just kind of...
Like Easter egg?
Like hidden things?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Some of them are like a leather daddy on an old-fashioned looking tile. So he's like taking modern moments, but putting them on these very classically inspired tiles.
They're like blue and white. So.
Right. Or it's like Shakespeare doing something stupid on a tile. Like, they're very tongue-in-cheek. Well, once a month he has an Etsy sale, and the fizzle is I've been trying for like the last 4 months to get one of the tiles. And honestly, I don't care which one I get. I just want one of them because it's its own little art piece.
Okay.
But no matter when I try to get there, they're always sold out. Like, doesn't matter when I'm logged in, when I'm ready. It's just constantly, it's like waiting in the Ticketmaster line for your favorite concert and then you never get a good seat.
Right.
So it does get a little frustrating. I'm not going to give up on him. I like what he does. I want to encourage artists to do things like that. One day I'll get one. But I'll link it in the show notes.
Oh,
They're
I
cute
thought this was going to be a redemption story.
No, this is the fizzle. I haven't got one. Like, I keep trying month after month. He announces it. It's like UK time, so 8 hours ahead of my time zone. So I have to log in like the late afternoon and try to get one. I have never been able to. So I think some of you will like how silly they are. They're meant to be kind of over the top, tongue in cheek, kind of stupid. He actually did a custom. He's not taking commissions right now, but he at one point did some custom tiles for Heidi Collier. So that's the fizzle. Sizzle side of things. When I visited you in Sacramento, what was that? September of last year.
Yeah.
You had those IKEA Sonos, like the inexpensive Sonos that it sells at IKEA. Is it called Symphonics or Symphonisk? Something Nordic sounding. So we bought one of those because we have a few Sonos speakers inside the house, but we bought one so we could take it outside and put it like on the porch and plug it in so we could listen to music when we're outside, but pair it to everything. And it works surprisingly well.
They're a good...
Like, it's a good sound quality.
Yeah.
And it pairs through Wi-Fi, so I don't have to have that, like, stupid Bluetooth problem where you get too far, your phone moves or whatever. So we don't leave them outside. Like, we do just unplug it and take it back in. They do have a movable one, but it's like $400-something. And the IKEA one is like $100-something. It's so much more affordable to just unplug it and take it back inside and put it on the shelf and then bring it out when we're going to be out there entertaining or...
Yeah, we're a Sonos household, so we actually mounted one outside under our eaves on our patio, and it's a Sonos One, I think.
Like it's meant to be outside all the time. It's protected there.
But it's protected.
Okay.
It can't get wet.
Yeah, we don't have... Well, our porch could cover one, but it doesn't, like... Where we could mount it wouldn't get the sound to where we want it to sit outside. So this is a nice alternative.
Yeah, and you can use it anywhere, anytime. And
I put it on like a little garden stool, so it's not sitting on the ground. Like, it lifts it up a little bit, helps the sound travel. But it's been kind of cool to just, grab this off the shelf, plug it in, sit out, have a cocktail in the evenings. It's honestly, like, I don't know. I don't think I would go looking for another like mobile chargeable Bluetooth or something like that ever again after doing this at our house where we can plug it into the side of the house or the garage or wherever and have the music in the backyard.
Yeah, once you get on the Sonos system, it's a little bit of, I feel like there's a little barrier because you have to go through their app. But once you get it all hooked up, it's got everything. And yeah, we have...
Our Spotify's are in there.
Right. 1, 2, 3.
Our Amazon lists are in there.
We have like 5. No, 6, because we also use them for our surround sound, so.
Once you have it, you're kind of hooked. It's like when you buy an iPhone.
And then you can just keep buying another one every year. Or what, like, we just keep kind of adding to it over time, and it's not.
Yeah, because now my office, the kitchen, the living room, and the kitchen's open the dining room, so that music covers that area. So, like, all the public zones or zones where we'll really be, like, hanging out, none of the bedrooms have them, but, like, all those zones have it. And then now the garden has it, and they can all be playing the same music at the same time, so you can have that full experience.
Or different.
But mostly the same is the nice part. It might be cool to have something closer to our guest bathroom, so as we're having more guests starting to come, like, it's kind of nice to have some music around the bathroom when you have guests, because, you know, no one wants to, like... hear what's happening in the guest bathroom when you have people over.
I feel like they might have just come out with
like a little
something
thing
recessed,
like a puck, like a tiny one,
or a ceiling mount kind of an idea. I might have.
That sounds expensive.
Yeah, I might have dreamt it, but actually, we have 2 of the IKEA ones. One's in my office, and one we put in the dining room bookshelves because those sit so nicely on a bookshelf because they're like.
They're not very deep. They're thin, like a book shape.
They're straight, like in rectangular. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what you're dreaming of? It's when I sent you that link that there might be developing one that can hide behind a piece of art.
Oh, yeah.
I sent you that link. Like IKEA filed the patent or whatever legal paperwork where they're developing one that can pair but sit behind a piece of artwork and play through the piece of art. So you never see it.
That would be cool.
Because then you could hang it on the wall. I mean, it's going to need power from somewhere, but that'd be easy. Like in a dining room, in a hallway.
Yeah.
Give me time. But that's my sizzle.
That's hot.
That's hot. Thanks, Paris Hilton.
Okay, so my fizzle, I've been doing more construction work slowly, and, I've been a little bit hesitant.
I know.
And you and Claire are always telling me I need to do more, and I've started getting into a groove on a couple projects, and I have a contractor that I really have liked working with. But my fizzle is kind of getting on the same page with, like, bidding. Like,
yeah,
he's kind of got to level up his admin stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I'm in this tough space where I'm not seeing line items of, like, material allowances and
labor costs.
Yeah, and being able to tell a client, like, a whole picture of, can we do this project, really? Like,
so he's just giving, like, a flat number and listing everything, but there's no line item numbers next to each?
Yeah, or it's like he's giving me an email with, like, a paragraph form of, like, it includes this, it doesn't include this, we could probably save on this, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
And so it's like, okay, well, my clients have a pretty firm budget,
So we need to know whether this works or not?
Yeah, and what they can do or not do.
It's helpful to see, for, like, my contractors will say, like, installation, 2 client-provided wall sconces. No, like, if they don't have a wall switch, it'll put, like, no switch on light, because that makes it easier to do. So you know exactly what it costs.
And what you need to
And then
source.
Clients can say, oh, let's get the one we really want that needs a wall switch then, because it's not as much as we thought it would be. Or if it has something with a wall switch and they want to take it down a notch, it's like, oh, let's cut a couple $100 of labor cost by finding one that has a toggle switch on it. We'll skip the wall switch or whatever it might be. But if you don't know those numbers, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, and, like, he's including, like, some of the, like, the architectural material hard costs, like countertops, cabinets, but not, like, the plumbing, lighting, and I don't know, hardware stuff.
Or, like, tile. Yeah.
So I'm kind of working through that with him because I like working with him, and my tendency is going to be like, hey, let me create a bid form for you.
Don't.
And you just fill it in?
No. That's not your job. Also, contractors have access to software that does that for them. The one my contractor uses, I forget, it's a program. Damned y'all, if I knew I would tell you, but he has a program. We get a little AMSR rosé pour in there. There we go.
Sorry, guys.
Back in the chiller. He has a program where he can put cost per square foot for certain things, and then he just enters the square footage of it, or linear footage.
I feel like that's something he'll probably need to grow into.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's tough when you're somebody who's good with your hands, and construction, you're probably not, like, great on a computer.
And also, he could be undercutting himself, too.
Mm-hmm.
Or bidding himself out of jobs because he doesn't know, so he goes much higher, and then he ends up losing out on bids because they're not very accurate.
Yeah, and I don't want to, like, nickel and dime his
talent.
No, or his labor.
Right.
Like, I just want him to tell me what it is.
One by one.
And I'll tell the client if we can afford it or not.
Especially if it's like you're proposing a herringbone install and he's telling you that's going to be more, and you're like, fine, we're just going to go to an offset brick lay. That'll save us money. Here's how much it saves. That's an important thing for him to be able to tell you, and for you to be able to know to talk with your clients, and that's going to make the life easier. Yeah,
so him and I need to have a talk and streamline that somehow. So that's kind of annoying, but this is all related. So the primary bathroom I've been working on with my clients in Lake Tahoe is coming along.
Mm-hmm.
Tile's almost done. And it's really different and really cool.
I think it's going to be something really unique that people can see a defined perspective from it.
Yeah, and it's an Airbnb, so it's bringing kind of that recognizable branded moment to the room. So that's been really fun because I haven't had that in my portfolio. In the same week, this contractor I've been working with, they finally were able to install the backsplash and another kitchen refresh I've been doing. And it's almost done, so we're waiting. So of course, lighting's back ordered and
everything's back ordered.
Blah to be blah blah, so I can't shoot it yet, but
like, when do you think we're going to switch to that thought process of, well, the lighting wasn't back ordered, is going to be our default, like, excited phase? Do you think we're just going to go to, well, everything's back ordered, everything's delayed, that will be the normal, and then we'll be excited when it's like, hey, client, guess what? It's in stock, instead of them just hoping it was in stock?
Yeah, I don't know if, well, I feel like 2019, I was still playing the stock game, so it's a normal part of the industry. Mm-hmm. It's just right now there's
14-week lead times.
Yeah, and less in stock than...
Well, we've used all the stock. It's all gone now.
It's all sitting off the coast of Long Beach.
Yes, exactly. Well...
Or stuck in the Suez Canal.
Stuck in the however many weeks. I read an article that said so the Suez Canal Authority lost $95 million in transit fees that they charge ships when they cross to and from through like the Suez Canal, like the toll fee. In all the time it had to be closed, they lost $95 million. That's a lot, and that's just the ship passing, let alone the ships that rerouted and the inconvenience and the damage to the canal, the crews that needed to pull the ship out. And so
the crews that were on board these ships that are rerouting or waiting, like sat there for an extra week or two.
Right. An extra fuel cost because their routes are longer or whatever happens. All of that stuff you think about. And then you think about all the money it lost for companies and delays because their product didn't arrive to a port, for several weeks later. So someone wrote an article that said that one of the port authorities, it's not official, but there's like a number they're throwing of like compensation that the owner of the ship has to pay. And it could be like $1 billion of lost like revenue. And they're holding the ship in the port. Like almost
hostage?
Well, not hostage, but it's just a collateral for the damages that they caused to the canal.
And it's full of containers.
So they don't have none of that merchandise can be released until they pay for these damages, almost like an insurance policy.
It's probably full of thread for the fabric that's all back ordered.
Yeah. It's all the extra world supply of oak or lumber or who knows what is sitting on that. But
it's also kind of surprising that it hasn't happened earlier. Like the Suez Canal was like a wonder of the world that they even did it, right?
Yes.
And the fact that it hasn't ever been blocked.
I mean,
in 100 years or whatever.
Yeah, when you think about, the vessels going through it were nowhere near this size when it was first built, and I don't know that they ever would have thought that would happen.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, the point is I'm excited for those projects to come out because I think they're a really great and more like representative of where you want Studio Plum to keep moving in that direction. And maybe part of that is what fueled this episode. Mm-hmm. So the thought here was the continuation of the You Wish Bitch series, where our first episode was about like the dream kitchens, things in kitchens, designs for kitchens.
Money's no object.
Right. And like wackadoo products that we see everywhere. This one's a little different.
Yeah, so this one was inspired to me the other day. I have this mastermind of other women who are in different industries, but they were kind of asking me like what my dream big kind of ideas were. And I realized that I hadn't articulated it. Even so, they're saying like get on Instagram and just say what you wish you could do and just say it because no one knows if you don't say it.
Right.
But then I pitched Shaun like, even though my dream clients are probably not listening to this because y'all are designers, but putting it out into the universe is a thing. Like,
yeah, manifest it.
One, we're feeling it in ourselves and like believe like that idea of entitlement, like we're entitled to these things that we dream of.
Yeah, like why should we not get the things that we're dreaming of? They're not hurting. It doesn't hurt anyone else for me to get this great thing.
Why should we not ask for it at least?
Yeah.
And then also
we're not taking it from someone else by asking for it for ourselves. Like,
and if no one knows what you want, then
you don't get it.
And then the idea of manifestation and putting it out in the universe and law of attraction and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But also just like lining up to make decisions to get you to have the things.
Right. So this starts that snowball rolling down the hill so it can start collecting more snow along the way.
Right.
To the big idea.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're each going to have two.
Yeah.
Like a dream big.
This is like the stars align. This is what would go down. Mm-hmm. And then the dream real.
Like get real?
Which is
get real girl?
Get real girl. Which is still the dream projects and clients, but this is like who we really want. Like if we pick up the phone, someone's calling us, this is who we want on the other side of the line.
Yeah, like we're teed up to have this next.
Yeah.
Versus putting things into place and
yeah, and the dream big has some stuff to get there.
You have to grow into it possibly.
Dream real is this is who I would like to pick up the phone and talk to on a discovery call every time the phone would ring.
Yeah.
So, do we start with the dream big or do we start with the dream real?
Let's dream real.
Okay.
Then we can end on a outlandish note.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. My dream reel is sort of built off this idea that I live in a Spanish bungalow and Spanish revival style homes are so prevalent around a lot of Southern California, a lot of California in general, but it's something very romantic for me. There's something about the way you live in some of these bungalow style homes and particularly the like history of Spanish style homes. There's just something bohemian, but elevated, and it's just this kind of
a lot of them
weird
were built in like the
20s.
Yeah, and it was like the epitome of California living.
Yes. It's
like the heyday.
It's definitely a home that evokes a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Versus just this is a beautiful home and you live in it. It does help create a lifestyle around the way they were built and courtyards and dining, you know, the whole experience is beautiful. So for me, my dream reel is to really lean into that Spanish bungalow, Spanish revival, Spanish colonial niche of clientele because I get the homes, I get the style, I feel like I get what clients are dreaming of when they are talking to me about homes, when I do get discovery calls or consultations for clients who live in the home. It makes my job so much easier.
Well, you live in one and you're part of like a historical preservation society.
They call it a heritage society because it's not just focused on preservation, but it's also celebrating the lifestyle and the way of life for our community. And it's tough right now with COVID because the same types of like events, and there's a small history museum in my city, and but that's hard right now because that stuff's not really happening.
Yeah.
But people still appreciate it, and there are a number of historic neighborhoods all over Greater Southern California, so people kind of get it. Yeah,
and so my point is that you are well positioned, you're educated. I suggested that you niche in it and call it a day.
Like you niche bitch.
You niche bitch.
But
that to me is like low-hanging citrus fruit.
I mean, to be really Spanish about it.
Low-hanging olives.
Yeah. So for me, it would be this ideal clientele. For me, I honestly, I love families. I love people who have kids. A lot of my clientele have children. I know that people think that, oh, gay men don't get it. Please stop. We do. It just because a lot of gay men aren't having children doesn't mean that they don't get how to help families who have children in their homes and how to pick materials and finishes that work for families. It's not that hard. But for me, an ideal clientele is that younger working professional couple who really appreciates the architecture. And I think the key for me is that they want to be respectful to a home without it feeling like a museum. So they don't want a preservation or a restoration. They want a thoughtful take on the home. It's being updated to live for a modern family. And I think that ideal clientele for me doesn't have children. It's not that it couldn't happen, but they're not building their lifestyle around every decision we make for the bathrooms, the kitchen, the everything has to be thought out for kids, because I think good design would translate if they did ultimately start a family building journey.
Yeah, I am somebody who doesn't push pause on design because I have a child.
I think it can be done.
It can be done, but I see those little assholes that take Sharpies to like linen sofas. I would die.
I can't with that. But if this dream real couple would call me and have a beautiful Spanish colonial that they bought from, like an 80-year-old, couple who's moving in with their kids finally or something, and the house hasn't had very much done since the 1970s and it really needs a do-over, but
maybe it has original floors. And
like it's got some of the same stuff, but hey, they did some weird built-ins in the 60s, or they did this weird thing in the living room in the 70s. That's the type of stuff I want to be able to peel back some of those,
the architecture,
some of the decisions that didn't age well, and get back to some of the stuff that is great and bring that back to life and give it a fresh take. That's a little weird that it doesn't have to be like, oh, we just don't want to do that because the next owner. I want the couple who's not worried about the next owner.
Right.
I want them to think about them only. That's the dream real project.
Yeah. And obviously people who don't have kids have a little more discretionary income.
Yes, that's important.
They'll spend it on light fixtures instead of daycare.
Yeah. Or refacing the fireplace that was really messed up by a previous owner, and they want to bring back that Spanish charm instead of just leaving it.
Yeah, and let's not replace the boob light somebody put in the 90s with cheap stuff from IKEA.
A big box store or whatever, yeah. That's what I want.
Yeah.
So that would be if every client who ever called me from here on was that, I could be really happy.
Do you want to get to a point where you say no to clients that aren't that?
As of right now, yeah. If everyone who called me had an older home with character and charm.
So not necessarily Spanish.
It doesn't have to be if I feel like I can work with that style. But if someone was like, oh, my house was built in the 70s, it's well, technically that's pretty much historic at this point. Let's think about that.
Yeah.
As we start thinking mid-century homes from the 60s are now almost in that historic range, but not all of them have an architectural style that's really iconic and preservable and worthy of preservation.
Right.
It's not iconic to a style. So I don't want everybody's tract house that was built in the late 50s and the 60s.
No.
I want California bungalows, craftsman style, Spanish colonial, Spanish revival. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
But I don't want a 70s house with a mansard roof.
Oh my God. And there's so much of that Brady Bunch style.
Yeah. And I'm man, I could do without that.
Although I would take it.
And that's what I'm saying. There's another design studio out there who would be happy to do those. And if I could say no, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah, so I think you need to, like, I think you could put your, like, anchor out and say, like, I specialize in historic Spanish-style homes. And that's, like, your direct target.
Yeah.
And then somebody who has a
craftsman
or yeah.
They'll think, oh, it's close.
Adjacent. Yeah, then they would still be acceptable to you.
That's acceptable, yes. I will work for you.
Accept that. Yeah,
Do you like that journey for me?
I like that journey for you. I think it's really like drilling into what does it mean? Is it homes built before 1940? Is it homes with X period details?
Yeah, I think I need to zero in more on that vision.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily the years, but also the style. Like, there are some really beautiful historic style homes built in like 1951 that aren't that sort of tract development post-World War II construction.
Yeah.
But they're like charming little like colonial revival.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, like I could go down for some of that. Just has to depend on the style, but I might need to zero in more on
the period detail aspect.
If it's not just these four square
ticky-tacky
repeated construction where every fourth house on the block looks exactly like that house. That's not my jam.
No. Hey, hotties.
Have you ever listened to the show and wished you could ask us questions?
Well, we just opened up private coaching sessions.
Now you can book 1 or 2 hour Zoom sessions with Rebecca and me.
Together, we bring over 40 years of experience in our combined professional backgrounds to help you with marketing, finance, and business strategy.
We're here to guide you on anything from branding to systems to the emotional guidance that you need to run your business.
Book today at hotyoungdesignersclub.com/coaching or use the Book Now button on our Instagram.
We can't wait to meet you.
So that's my dream reel.
Okay. I think you just need to update your homepage and you're good. Done.
Just redo all of your marketing materials and collateral and your homepage, and then you're set.
I mean,
no big deal.
What are you doing tonight? Yeah.
NBD, I can do it tonight while I'm in the bathtub here at the Nomad. By the way, not sponsored by the Nomad. We just like the Nomad, you guys.
Nomad, can you sponsor us next time?
Yeah, if you could pay for our trip, that'd be great instead of this business expense I have to cover. It's a write-off.
It's a write-off.
What about your dream reel?
Okay, my dream reel, I feel like it's not as sexy and romantic as yours.
Okay, that's all right.
I just want a certain size of project.
Okay.
So, certain size and clientele.
Okay.
So my next big project, at least 3 rooms of furnishings. Well, really, 2 rooms of furnishings, and then like a kitchen. So I can get like kind of a big half of a house moment.
And like a good timeline. Like
oh yeah.
A mixture of remodel plus that.
We have a year.
Yeah.
They're a younger family or not family. And they are just really interested in something unique, bold, interesting. There's not really inspiration out there per se.
For like what they're imagining, they're not finding it.
Yeah, like it's not ripped from the Pinterest headlines.
Okay.
Like, it's more of a, I don't know, artistic is hard to say, but just creative and interesting and really built on them. And of course, color and texture and layers. I don't know, I just want somebody to trust me, kind of like what I'm doing with my own house, but someone with a healthy budget.
And it has a sense of humor, I feel like shows up often in the work you're trying to create.
Definitely.
Maybe it's not meant to be funny, but it also is not meant to be so serious.
It's not serious. It's meant to be a little joie de vivre. Like, the term whimsical sounds like silly.
Right.
But there's a little bit of that I like, the idea of whimsy, because it's not serious. Yeah. Something that's just like every piece is sourced for this.
Yeah.
There's nothing turnkey about it.
It didn't have to be a piece you used from 3 other projects.
No.
Not that that's bad if that's what you find your magic pieces out there to the hotties. It's just this is Rebecca's You Wish Bitch.
Yeah, this is mine.
Get your own You Wish Bitch.
I get to wish for whatever I want. Yeah, so not necessarily with the goal of getting published, but it's publishable.
Yes.
And the clients are just great. They're fun. They're too busy to look for shit themselves. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're moving to Sacramento from the Bay Area, which there's a lot of that.
That's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they found a home that needs complete like aesthetic refresh.
Yeah.
All the surfaces, the bones are great, but the surfaces are trash.
Needs a taste elevation.
There's a lot of homes in Sacramento that are coming to market right now. I think people are just ready to let them go because it's so hot for sellers.
Yeah. So they're retired or retiring.
And there's just so many that are just like, kind of like my house was when we found it. Just first time, like the original owners didn't upgrade a fucking finish.
And
it's
also
crazy.
Like forgot what they had. Like forgot or lost sight of this is a cool place. Like it could stay cool if
or maybe just like locked into that this is a cool place and never thought that it needed an update.
Or, yeah. Like there's nothing wrong with this. And you're like, well, there's nothing wrong. But
like your green shag carpet was probably really cool in 1960. Like our house was green shag carpet in the living room, blue in the dining room, orange in the bedroom. Like
but that was very the moment. And
everything was very custom in our house.
And when you designed it, you weren't meant to touch it again. You were meant to leave it like that.
Yeah, that's the generation that they got one job and retired from it.
Right.
So when I was looking for our house, like I didn't want
tract home, new build.
Well, I didn't want anything updated because I knew it would never be updated the way I'd want it. So I didn't want to pay for an update that I didn't like.
I'm sure so many of our hotties are feeling that. Because that's a designer thing. I'd rather you didn't because I'll do it. I'll pick what I want.
And it would be impossible that I would find a place that was designed to my specification.
Uh-huh.
Especially in Sacramento, which isn't super design forward or hadn't been.
Mm-hmm. I feel that.
So yeah, I just want like a little bit of a bigger project. I'm not ready for like a full new build or anything like that, but I want someone to trust me with a vision on multiple rooms.
I love that.
With a budget to match.
It's got to be healthy to do that type of work. The types of things that you're dreaming of. Clients have to come with a healthy budget, knowing you can be creative. You can work the hell out of a budget, but I can accomplish so much more if you give me more. Or if you have more as a client. If you have more for us to work with, we can accomplish even more.
And it doesn't make sense for them to pay for my time if it's not matched by the quality of the finishes.
There's only so much you can do.
Well,
it's like a penny.
It's like my house, I've stretched some pennies. So like I put IKEA built-ins in some of my rooms. I'm not doing super high level finishes, but I can afford my own time to make them look interesting.
Like I couldn't hire myself.
No. But it wouldn't make sense to hire a designer to spend 50 hours on a dining room with IKEA built-ins.
Right. The diminishing returns on that.
Yeah. So.
Okay. I feel like that's a very real number of clients out there who are fitting that description for you.
Right. Like.
They're there.
www.studioplum.com/contact.
Yeah, if you guys know any friends or family who are moving from the Bay Areas to Sacramento, Rebecca's your gal.
Yeah. All right. Dream big?
Dream big. I've thought about this one a lot because in spring of 2019, so pre-world ending.
You were like a little cute, innocent, happy to
think about so much has changed.
Have passport will travel.
Yes, our world has changed so dramatically. But spring 2019, I did like one of those bucket list trips to Marrakech. And so we flew into Paris and did a few days in Paris before going to Morocco. And we stayed a week in Morocco and then flew back to Paris to come home. Ever since then, I just keep thinking about the properties and the Riad we stayed in. Y'all know, like, I didn't pick an ugly Riad. We stayed in a beautiful Riad that's owned by an English family, and they spend like 3 months a year in their Riad. The Riad itself was beautiful, but all of the furnishings and the accessories, that kind of stuff, could have really used some elevation. Mm-hmm. But we knew that we were really there to appreciate the solitude of the Riad because we stayed in the Medina in Marrakech, which is the old part of the city. So we could walk to everything. The Riad's driver picked us up from the airport, dropped us in the Riad, walked us to the door of our Riad, and then we didn't ever have to worry about going outside of the walls of the Medina, the old city.
Nice.
And that was the dream for us, was we knew we could stay within the walls. And the Riad was just beautiful. It had a rooftop deck, but they just didn't know what they had, and they weren't using it well to attract people. So my dream big is I would really like it if it was a local Los Angeles couple or a family. Maybe they're expats and they have family who are still in Europe and they want a place where they can travel to and meet with their family and like arrange these family gatherings. And it might be a rental, but it'd be cool if it was really just for their family to use. And take this whole Riad, like 5 bedrooms. Maybe it's got a pool, like central a plunge pool, central courtyard, which is very common. Rooftop deck life is real in Morocco. Like, it's where you dry your laundry. It's where kids can play. It's kind of like the yard of the house, because the courtyard is designed to be this cool area that's in shade.
Right.
In the day when it's the hottest, you can be in your central courtyard with potted plants and tree canopy, and everybody has these beautiful gardens, but so many places there are doing them wrong. It's just too pared back, and there's no... It is that romanticism or the exoticness of being in Morocco, and you come in and you're like, oh, there's nothing in here. There's no bougainvillea growing over everything, and there's no... textile story is kind of mismatched, but not in a good way, and...
Which is a total miss when you're
like,
in
everything's
Morocco.
cheap. They can go out
and amazing
and get custom craftsmanship done. Yeah. You can have a welder make you patio furniture. Yeah. You can have an upholsterer do it, and it's so inexpensive there. So
you get custom tiles made.
Oh, you want a special custom color mix glaze on your Zelige tile? Done. You can go over there and pick it. So
what a miss.
I feel like that would be my dream big, is create the whole lifestyle around it. It would be great if it could be mine. If I could own it myself, I would die. That would be...
Would you rent it?
I think I would, knowing that I can't be there that often, but how cool would it be to take springtimes in Marrakech when all the citrus blossoms are blooming, there's still fresh pomegranates, because they get a weird agricultural season there. It's very like temperate all year round. So you can have fresh citrus and fresh pomegranates from March through May or early June.
Go on your buying trips.
And then get out of the city when it gets super hot in mid to late summer. Maybe you come back in the fall. I don't know. But I would love to do that. And I'll link in the show notes. There's a couple resorts that give me that fantasy. One of them is the Elfen, ELFENN. I'll link their Instagram. You guys can find them. Is that the one with the
red and white pool?
Yeah, they have like the red and white stripe, and then they have these like rattan like shades over their cafe lights, and it's just rooftop life is for real in Marrakech. So there, and also Jasper Conran has the Hotel Marrakech. It's just it's so beautiful, and they know what they're doing. They've created these little oases in the middle of this huge bustling city, and it has that European expat flair meets Morocco, but it's respectful, and it doesn't feel like they're trying to make it too bougie.
Right.
So it still feels authentically Moroccan. I mean, it may be a little bit of colonialist vibes because, let's be real, it was like a French Commonwealth, so that's never going to be gone completely from the vernacular.
Yeah.
But that would be my, like, you wish, bitch, you could build and design and do the whole experience for a Moroccan Riad?
I think you can do that because I feel like it really builds off of your new niche, going from like the Spanish.
That Spanish style takes off from Moorish style,
Sure.
So you see some
and
of
there's
that.
all like that Art Deco thread that kind of goes through all of it because that was like
It's
magical.
fed from that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Keep wishing, bitch.
You niche, bitch. What about you?
Okay, so wavelength happening, my dream big. So I'm a little bit of a Francophile.
Mm-hmm.
I'm half Mexican, but took French in high school. Like, I'm that, like, half Mexican denier. I was. But I've always, like, had on our, like, grand financial plan when we meet with our financial advisor, I always wanted to, like, have a sabbatical in the French countryside, a little bit of a under the Tuscan sun, but the married version in France.
Okay. So like Eat, Pray, Love, but in France.
Yeah, like real French cooking and go to the market and the food. Oh, God, it's so good. I've always wanted to do that. I think my dream big is to have a client with a French country cottage that they want me to move there as part of the project.
Well, it's more cost effective if you're there.
And there's so much that you need to source on the ground.
Of course.
Because we'd be pulling in vintage and
bringing it all freight from the U.S. is just stupid.
Why would you bring materials in from the U.S. to France?
No. All the best tiles made in Spain and Portugal.
Yeah, and I
Antiques
definitely
from Paris.
would want to be, pulling in antiques and older kind of rehab finishes and find old tile or whatever and repurpose it.
Great textiles, vintage textiles to pull in.
Yeah, and I would meet some fabulous contractors that knew like how to work with the old plasters and
and be respectful of the homes.
But I would push them to try something new that they've never seen before.
And they would be like, Sacre bleu! And one of them's really hot.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm not going into like that fantasy, but...
Okay, don't write my next Poldark novel.
That's fine. I kind of like the idea of it being a rental because when I was talking to my mastermind, one of my things is that I do want to... I don't know what... Not 100%. Well, I'm just
Maybe. Put it out there.
I do want to be like a high-end, design-forward Airbnb designer. I have my background in marketing and graphics and packaging. I am a fanatic about where I stay. I literally don't travel sometimes because there's just nothing cute about the places I'm looking at.
So do you want to be the dream renter for these Airbnbs? Is that what helps?
Like I'm the target?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Lake Tahoe, for instance, 1 hour and a half from my house. There are so many rentals there that are garbage. Like,
you don't want a carved grizzly bear newel post on your
like your
stairwell?
hand-me-down trash.
Naughty pine? You don't want that everywhere?
Even the naughty pine I could look around, but it's always the bedding for me, honestly. I have a really nice...
It's that Sam's Club quilt set?
Or it's polyester, bed in a bag. Why would I stay somewhere and pay money that's not as nice as my own house? And I don't have a high-end luxury home, but it's comfortable.
The bed is important when you're at an Airbnb.
Yeah, there's
I don't know why people don't get it.
It's such a miss all the time. So
bathrooms with nothing in them, no little dishes or things on the counters, or no little
just like really bad choices. Something was
the bottle
on
of
sale.
someone's old Pert Plus in the shower.
Just like, yeah. So my dream big is to focus on rentals and Airbnbs and help elevate. Have you seen Stay Here with Genevieve from Trading Spaces?
Yes.
That's my dream.
You want to help them remarket rebrand, you get your graphics passion kick, you get your branding passion kick, the design kick, that's some of everything. And you get to create an identity.
Yeah, and every single home is its own little hotel.
Do you have to do that just by the clients? Or are there people that property manage a lot of these high-end rentals that you could just be like, I'm the designer for you now. You're going to contract me to do this. You're going to bring me your clientele. This is what I do.
I kind of think I'm just going to start doing it. I'm doing it with this Tahoe cabin, and it's totally my ideal client aesthetic. It's going to be interesting. They are creative people, so they will be doing a lot of the branding and packaging.
And they get it.
And they totally get it. But to build off of that...
So you're already doing the you wish bitch.
Well, but I want to dream bigger.
More. Like,
and maybe...
more of the full picture.
Maybe you niche bitch into my dream big. Yeah.
You niche bitch is the next offshoot.
I think. You niche bitch. Can I change my niche every episode?
We keep talking about how creating a niche for your business is the way to being happier professionally and personally, but also creating happier clientele and better projects. And
yeah, I feel like I could do this and make their occupancy rate sell out and their price per night go up.
Yes.
They just have to outlay more cash up front.
You have a much bigger investment, and most people who are buying Airbnbs are probably a little short-sighted.
They're thinking small, yeah.
And they think, oh, we'll just be happy if it covers our expenses. Why don't we just be happy that it actually pays your bills and helps you buy another, or pays your bills and helps you get your kids into that great college you want them to go to? Or
yeah, because I helped another client on a project that they didn't have the budget to completely redo the whole cabin at the time we worked together. But I'm always like picking the brains of like the real estate agents, and they said that area was about a 60% occupancy rate. And I feel if it was well designed, like there's no seasonal aspect. I want to go stay in a amazing house. I like the idea of it pushing boundaries because it's fun to experience for a weekend or a week at a time, but maybe you wouldn't have your own personal bathroom. That cobalt blue.
Yeah. You're going to be okay with a more risky place because you can take your cute Instagram photos.
Yeah, and experience it, but not worry about resale or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And the kitchen functionality doesn't have to be 100% if the visuals are there, because let's be honest, a lot of people never cook in their Airbnb. But if it looks beautiful...
I don't know. Can I have some sharp-ass knives, please?
Why are they all dull? Why is the silverware mismatched?
I mean, there's a reason. Like,
why is the spatula burned?
There's definitely reality to some of that, which is also what we're testing with this Airbnb I'm working on is it's going to have a pretty high price per night. So how does that elevate like the clientele and the respect for things?
You can have nicer stuff.
Maybe.
Potentially. I'm here for that.
We'll see.
I mean, this is
I want my dream big to be, I'm going to be the Airbnb queen of the world. And I'll work on the Riad next door to yours.
I'd love that.
I love
when we do a hot young designers club buying trip, where we can have our design retreat with hot young designers.
The courtyards connect or something.
With like a gateway, a portal gate. Just saying, y'all. So I think the hotties should do this exercise themselves and write down what your dream reel is. Who is it you want to pick up the phone and talk to next when they call. And the project they're bringing you. But also the dream big.
Yeah.
The you wish bitch. What is that project going to be? And start manifesting that.
Yeah, make a vision board if you're up for it, or just make a Pinterest board with it. I think we should do that.
Yeah. Put the ideas together, what it looks, feels like, the energy, and how it pays itself back to you. Because if you put it out, start talking about it, and honestly, it doesn't hurt to just put it on an Instagram story and talk about it, because maybe what's going to happen to it? What's the worst that happens? People go, oh, that would be great. Like, yeah, it would be.
Or they're going to say, you wish, bitch.
And you're going to go, I know. Thanks.
I'm wishing.
So, anyway,
Love it.
Love that for us, for all of us. So until next time,
stay hot, designers.
Thanks for joining this meeting of the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Check out the show notes there for links to things we talked about today.
We are keeping the conversation going on Instagram, so don't forget to like, comment, and follow at Hot Young Designers Club.
You can find Rebecca on Instagram at Studio Plum.
And you can find Shaun at Renstead Interiors. That's WRENSTED.
I have this thing when I'm looking at Airbnbs. If their opening photo is the view outside, the house is shit. Because if
you're not wrong.
I've tested myself on this theory, and I'm 100% right.